Does someone else want to explain the check-ins?
Okay, wow. Yeah. She's just asking you to pick a number from 0 to 9. How you are feeling today? Like 0 to 4. That is
okay.
Like,
thank you.
Yeah.
Like
Just
0
pick
to
a
4.
number.
Okay, I'll go with it.
8. Oh, good. Thank you.
Yeah.
Great. Awesome. Okay, so let's just do a quick round for Wahoo. You know, my name's Jay. I'm in California, United States, and it's very early in the morning. Zilu?
Okay. Yeah.
Oh, and then also, Wahoo, you want to learn how to mute? Push the mute button when you're not talking. And you just turn it on and off. You just push the mute button. But Zilu, do you want to tell us just your name? Tell Wahoo your name and where you're from.
Yeah, my name is Zilu from Bangladesh. Nice to meet you, Wahoo. Welcome, and wish you we can approve your project also and get involved in our organization. Willing to see you. We are happy to be you in our community.
Thank you.
Wahoo, I'm Albina from Kenya, Nairobi, Roysambu. Kenya.
Thank you, Jessica.
Yes.
Yeah, you sound like a Kenyan.
Okay. Kenya.
Thank you, Jessica. Yeah, you sound like a Kenyan.
Okay, great. And Rachel is only text only for now, so.
We lost Zilu. Oh my God.
We lost Zilu. He'll get back on. All right, cool. So let's continue here. We are, and you know, let us know if you can't get the document, Wahoo, but we just follow along on the document. And right now we're in our attendance section. So, so Zilu was here early. I don't know how early he was. Jay, Zilu, and then we had Rachel. Is Rachel here though? Rachel, are you here? She did the check-in on the dock, but I don't know if she's actually here. I'm also on computer. Huh. What are you doing on the computer? All right, so Rachel was here on time, so I'm not sure why it says Rachel was 2 minutes late. So let's put that as on time.
Okay.
And then we have Albina, Jessica, and Wahoo. Perfect. So there's 5 of us. 1, 2, 3, 4. No, 6 of us. We got 6 of us total.
1, 2, 3, 4,
Excellent. I'm using the view the docs. Okay, but that would not be computer work. All right. So let's see here. Jessica is audio for now.
My internet was ripped.
Sorry.
Let's cross that out. All right, cool. So I think we're good on our attendance. Any other questions on attendance? We're still behind on our rankings, but hopefully we'll get that set up soon enough. I would just note that we're missing Joseph and Steve O, which is okay, but and just want to mention about the plasma, like people keep saying they're working on Plasmo, and it's just not assigned, unless people know the responsibilities. Like Plasmo is not a responsibility. Plasmo is a whole organization with many, many responsibilities. And, people need to be asking questions and understand what they're doing to get assigned to work on the Plasmo. So, all right. So I think we're good on all that. So let's go ahead and move on. So evaluations and prioritization. So we go into our prioritization spreadsheet.
Jack, can you share your screen a little, please?
Yeah.
Albina, I need access for RSVP responses spreadsheet. I can't access on that. I need access.
Which one?
The RSVP responses spreadsheet.
Okay, but that's not applicable to right now. Right now we're focusing on our prioritization spreadsheet and evaluations. Also, we want to link the weekly check-in. Okay?
Okay.
And let's also add that to our template. So Wahoo, just so you know, every week everyone's required to do a weekly check-in. Yeah, so we'll make sure we go over that. So usually this part of the meeting is quiet and silence.
Yeah.
So let's just go ahead and do a prioritization, and I'm also going to get set up on the screen share. So again, we're all doing the prioritization spreadsheet and or evaluations or the weekly check-in.
Okay.
I would start with the weekly check-in as the highest, most important thing, and then I would do prioritization, and then if you want to do evaluation, that's up to each person.
Okay.
Did you add the link to the weekly check-in? Oh, there it is. Check-in. Excellent. Thank you.
I've linked the check-in form.
Perfect. Thanks.
So let me share on Skype soon, who are not in the meeting.
Yeah, you want to remind everybody about the weekly check-in, and also, announce the soft stop. Okay, like everybody who hasn't filled out the form would be going on soft stop after this meeting.
Okay.
And that would be a 50% soft stop. All right, so.
Are we filling the prioritization spreadsheet?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me remove
Just
it
the top.
because I'm not there.
Let's just do the top priorities. We don't need to do the backlog, just the top ones. So it should go
Yeah.
quicker.
In the team setup, maybe.
So Jay, we have the lunar sessions is client work, or we don't have budget, right, for that. But
No.
the lunar session is client related to client work, right?
Interesting question, but the client work itself is very specific for session support. So session support in and of itself is not client work. The client work is the actual outreach and announcement and convening of the meeting itself. So and that would be part of the external and network wide communications, which we're just not doing yet. So we need to step up all of our support. But anyways, basically just ignore the session support for anything except for the larger planetary sessions that have budgets.
Okay.
So I would say no, it's not client work unless you're actually doing stepping up and doing client work. Yeah.
Got that.
Cool. So I don't know if anyone can share their screen and show Wahoo how the and who's on timekeeping? Is anyone on timekeeping?
No one mentioned their name on timekeeping. Anyone want to help with the timekeeping, please? Hello, guys. Anyone want to help with the timekeeping?
Hello. I would like to help, but I don't know how.
Okay. We will have time for the topics and agendas. You will just remind us with the times.
Pardon?
So timekeeping is pretty straightforward, and you just keep practicing. You get better at it. First of all, well, every topic that we do, for example, right now we are in the prioritization and evaluation and weekly check-in topic. So this particular topic we do for like 5 to 10 minutes. So I don't know where we started, but we are, we're in the middle of the topic. So you just would keep your watch handy and let us know how long we've been in the topic. So right now, obviously, we're going to want to wrap up and move along, but we'll really quickly let you know about the team prioritization spreadsheet. And then as we go through the session, each topic will get 5, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, and depending on how long it is, you let us know if there's 5 minutes left, if there's 2 minutes left, if there's 1 minute left, and then time itself, like when we're at time, and then we're 1 minute over, 2 minutes over, 5 minutes over. So just in the middle of the session, just jump in and be like, hey, we got 5 minutes left. Just do your best, okay?
Okay.
And maybe Joseph can help out with timekeeping as well. And also, Joseph, if you can check in, that'd be great. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah. Yes, good afternoon, guys. I'm sorry I'm late. I did not have power at home. And I'm grateful for this session. I hope it's going to be good. Check.
Would you like to let us know what you've been working on, Joseph?
Well, I just came and then I saw your message. We were working on Plasmo yesterday, and we realized it was not the right way that you expected us to do it. So I have to apologize for myself and for Steve as well, because we were the ones who have been doing the Plasmo since, I think, almost 3 months now. I guess we will discuss it with you.
Great.
So that yes.
Yeah. I think for at least a month or more now, we've been asking people not to work on Plasmo because no one's actually doing the responsibilities. Like Plasmo in and of itself is not a responsibility, right? It's an organization, right? It's a whole. There's like a dozen responsibilities, right? So, and you need to be actually working on specific responsibilities and accomplishing specific goals, not just working on Plasmo, right? So let's go ahead and prioritize that, and then keep going from there. So I think we're ready to move on. But yeah, I'm sure we'll figure it out. And you should have, technically everyone should have 5 responsibilities that they're working on. So if you only have Plasmo, that's the bigger problem. Okay.
That's true. Yes.
Yeah. So let's make sure to get everyone's responsibilities organized, and yeah. So I think we're ready to move on. Let me see if I'm able to get onto the Hangout. Albino, sorry guys, I lost my electricity. That's fine. Okay, Albino will be right back. So I'm not able to. Wait, is it gonna work? No, I'm not able to get my screen shared. Oh, wait, maybe I can. Come on, screen share. Hey, you guys hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, great. I can actually share my screen. Give me a minute here. So is everyone finished with the voting and their check-ins?
I have done the check-in.
Okay, cool. Let me find the quarter moon here. Voila.
Your screen is not shared.
All right, let me get it shared here. Share screen. And boom. Okay, that should do the trick.
Yes.
All right, so this is our, if you can see my screen, this is our agenda here. So we would want to take this and organize it the other direction. Cool. So this would be like our top 10 agenda items or so. And response to organizing process. Okay, 10 minutes on that. And copy, and then come back to our notes. So right now we're going into, so after we do the evaluations of prioritization and weekly check-in form, we're going to go to our desired outcomes and our topic review. Oh, also, I forgot, for the timekeeping, hopefully you can help with the timekeeping as well, Joseph. We do at the bottom of the hour, we do a quick 30-second stretch. So everyone's supposed to stand up and stretch.
Yes.
Also, someone need to assign for session value tracking also after end the session.
Yeah, but that will be at the end of the session, so we don't have to worry about it as much. It's not like an active position. It goes at the end. So, excellent. Okay, and then at the top of the hour, you want to remind us to do our 5-minute break. We do 5-minute breaks at the top of the hour. But anyways, we'll go over that with our schedule. So desired outcomes and topic review. So I'm put these as our internal topics here from our voting. Okay, and that'll be for our group team setup. So group team goals and priorities we have as number I see it in there. Did I miss something? Let's just, oh wait, it's up right here, number 3. All right, so number 3 is our group team goals and priorities. Budget is number 4. So I'm not sure, Wahoo, if Wahoo you were voting, it would probably get higher. So we were still missing 2 people actually voting. So if we want to do the budget earlier, this is the time to speak up about wanting to prioritize the budget higher. So this is who's the other person here? We have Joseph, right? Joseph. Planetary session. What does that mean? Election, co-chair election. Co-chair election is number 9. What is the planetary session? And payroll.
That comes from the desired outcomes. Topics comes from the desired outcomes.
Okay. So let's just put it on other for now. So what's the desired outcomes? You want to read the desired outcomes? So it says Earth session. Let's see Earth session. And that would actually be a primary topic as opposed to a internal. Do you want to read the desired outcomes, Zila?
Yeah, I will. So the desired outcomes comes first of one is the finalize the budget and art session preparation, elections result and elect the co-chairs, new co-chairs, review the mandatory priorities and the goals for the community works, the proposals, policies and protocols, payroll setup, and also understanding the Plasmo reporting and the info updation.
Okay. We'll add in Plasmo. So we have, I would say we have both the seasonal session as well as the Earth session that we want to address there. Protocols and policies is number 2. Are there any specific questions about payroll or payroll setup? I mean, because it's not on our agenda, I would say for payroll setup, it would be.
I bring it from the last session, but it was there, so I just.
Yeah, the main issue with payroll setup and payroll is simply that with the current payroll, someone needs to do the overall verification or overview verification. Is there anyone responsible for that?
Yeah, Albina did it today.
Oh, she did it. Great. Okay, cool. So yeah, we should be able to finish that up today then, or tomorrow, whatever. Okay. For the full moon, we're on the full moon payroll right now, and then we'll get the new moon payroll done soon. Okay. Are there any other desired outcomes for this session? Any other desired outcomes?
No, from my side. This is all.
Okie dokie. Also, there's something else that's a major problem. We're not going to worry about it, but just to make sure we are clear, today is not a global core team session. So today is a steering team meeting. So we actually we're working on the wrong spreadsheet. Okay.
I'm bringing it.
Well, no. Don't worry about it for now. I mean, we already missed it. Let's just move on from that. But just for next time, okay? Just remember quarter moon is steering team, not global core team.
Okay.
Cool. All right. So as far as topics, does anyone object to maybe doing the budget first and getting that out of the way?
I think it's good. It's good we discuss the budget first. Can someone send me that, please?
Okay, I'm sending you, Joseph.
Cool. Awesome. That would be
times for the topics.
Yeah, we have some times for topics. They're all like 10 to 15 minutes or so, except for budget, it's going to be like 20 to 30 minutes.
10 to 30. Election.
Again, our we're going to start with at the top. We're going to do the budget first. So let's insert a row above and do the budget first. But the times are all right there. Okay, Zila, do you see the table?
Okay, thank you, Jessica.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
So everything's in there. And then the seasonal session, 5 minutes, planetary session, like 5 to 10 minutes. Plasmo. We could do Plasmo first if we get to that. And we'll be talking about these in number 2 as well. Number 2. Is it number 2? Yeah. No, number 3. Number 3. All right. Great. Okay. So let's do this. Let's start with our budget. So we all agreed that we're down to start with the budget. Are there any objections to the agenda or the desired outcomes? To our focus of the meeting. Any objections? Okay, so it looks like we have agreement. So we always get agreement on topics and desired outcomes. So that is excellent. All right. Next is our schedule for the session. So with the schedule today, we're going a little slow, but we'll probably end up being a couple hours. Let's make sure we do, breaks at top of hour. And we want to do 30-second stretch at bottom of hour. Let's keep making sure we do that. I would say we want to start wrap up at, right now it's 4:47, so at 6. So on our time, we use America's time and Asia time. UTC, it would be 12. So 6 o'clock, Asia, America time, whatever, and then 12 for UTC, okay? And so that will be when we want to start our wrap up. And hopefully we can keep the meeting under, finish by 6:30. Say what?
Wrap up should be 12, yeah, right.
Yeah. Cool. Are there
Sorry guys, I lost my internet.
That's okay. Thanks for coming back. We're just going over our schedule right now. We're going to try to wrap up in about an hour and 10 minutes. And then we'll be done in about an hour and 40 minutes. Okay? That's the goal.
Yeah. Thank you.
So that would be a 2.5-hour meeting total. All right. Any other questions on the schedule? Oh, yes, there is other things on the schedule. So tomorrow at the same time is the seasonal session. Seasonal session in exactly 24 hours from now. Are there any other sessions? We also have the Cobalt session. Is at 5 p.m. America's time. So this one we want to invite Farah and what's your buddy's name, Wahoo? What's his name? I don't remember his name.
Wahoo, you are muted.
Marcel.
Marcel. Yeah.
All right, cool. So and then there's also a dynamic session, right?
Yeah, we have dynamic session on Thursday.
Yeah.
At 2.
Thursday at 5. At 5.
5 p.m. And this would be Asia time.
UTC, yeah.
Great. And then Wahoo obviously can go to that if she wants to. All right. So any other session schedule?
Dynamic going to happen because of seasonal session. It's overlapping.
Oh, you're right. So this is canceled.
Yeah. Cancelled. Thank you.
Seasonal session. That's why we do scheduling, is to double check on these things. So let's put that here.
Yeah.
So if you can announce that and then just remind people about the seasonal session. And the seasonal session starts an hour early at 4 a.m. Okay?
Yeah.
All right, cool. All right, so I think we are good on the schedule. Any other questions on the schedule? And then the Earth session is July 6th, I think. Earth session, July 6th. So proposals and decisions. So we need a proposal doc. It's supposed to be like create a proposal doc. I think we created it last time, didn't we? So we need to make sure that's linked in this. Can anyone check on our meeting from last week and see if the proposal doc was created? Or link from last week. And then we have our template. Let's just get our template updated real quick, because if we don't do it now, it's not going to happen. So can anyone check last week's meeting notes and see if...
Yeah, I'm checking.
Cool, thanks. So whenever we're making meeting notes, Wahoo, we just make sure we update the information. And I'm going to go ahead and add our weekly check-in to our meeting notes, because everyone should have access to that. Very important. Any luck with the link to proposals doc? Anyways, we'll try to get the proposals doc linked if we can find it, or it needs to be created. So the only proposal I know is the 4x proposal. So proposing to go from 3x to 4x, and then obviously our budget. So are there any other proposals anyone can think of that we don't have on our, that we may or may not get to? Okay, so I think we're ready to get started. Any other questions in terms of setup before we go on to our agenda or our focus? All right, so let's get started with the budget. So Albina, what happened with the proposal doc?
Pardon, Jay, I'm still confirming. I'm checking.
Okay. All right, just let us know. Okay, so we're going into the budget. So FQM budget deadline calendar. So this is the deadline to have one week to do budget changes for main buddy teams. Also today is the due date for invoices for last month's invoice. So everyone will be on soft stop if you haven't done the invoice. Okay. Are there any of the invoices that are completed?
151.
Last month would be 3. This would be 3 degree. Last month's invoice would be 3 degree east. Right. Today. So then it would be hard stop at the full moon. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So the budget should be from the questionnaire. There should be a budget questionnaire form. Where's that, right? I mean,
can I put the results from the votings we did?
Yeah, that's what we're gonna go over next. Exactly.
Okay, I will link that.
Cool. But the actual budget is looking pretty good. But we can go ahead and we have one proposal for the new main buddy team, Marcel, Wahoo, and Farah. So let's get that here. So proposal, approve recruitment budget for main buddy team, Marcel, Wahoo. All right, so let's see if we can check in on these results. This is just the link to the actual voting.
Sorry.
No, that's okay. It's fine to have
the results.
It's fine to have the link, but let's also do the results too. Let's
Yeah,
both?
I'm linking the results.
Yeah, we can link both. So I believe it's $440 per month, which is 440 times 12 is 5280. No, Marcel and Wahoo potentially may go towards some no upfront pay. Okay, so we have results.
I
now.
linked the results.
Let's take a look.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to start with the weighted votes. So option 1 is the 2690. And that was a 91%. And option number 2 is 70%. And that would be to remove the people who didn't show up. And that also passes. Option number 3 was to get under 2,000. And that's that. And that definitely doesn't pass. So obviously option number 1 passes more than option number 2, but they're both pretty strong yeses. So let's go ahead and put those both in here. So option number 1. So if you can copy these over from the last session. Option number 1, let's get them here. And this has a 91.3% weighted yes vote. And then option number 2 is 70.41. Alrighty, so I mean, I'm gonna change my vote to like a yes. Let's see if that helps. Would that bring it up to odd? That's 79%.
79.
Yeah. Which helps a little bit. All right, so I think from here we are waiting for the actual budgets. Do you want to add the budgets real quick, or maybe I can try to pull them out from here? I don't know. Is it possible to add the budgets, or? Can anyone copy and paste the budgets from the previous meeting? Or no?
Which budget? Yeah, option 2 is now 81%, 81.52.
Option number 2?
Yeah, 81.5.
Okay, you can update that, but what we need is the actual budgets.
Actual budget, let me look for it.
It would be from the previous session. You could even link the previous session notes so that we all have them together.
Okay.
But it's not letting me grab these screenshots. I guess I could try maybe just to get the screenshots here. Let's see. This is option 1. There we go. Option 2. Okay. Here's option 1 and option 2. Ideally, we would just actually put the actual spreadsheet link from before. But anyways, this is good. I'm not sure why it's so different though. Why is this one say 2,290 and this one says 1,790? I'm not sure what the difference is.
It's the same on the form.
All right. Anyways, this still leaves room for Wahoo, Farah, and Maricel, and can consider other slice.
What is the total of their budget? Let me check.
So let's go ahead and do a vote here. So I would, I guess I would just basically say that what we should do is we have obviously there's 2 options. We have option 1, which would be everyone, or option 1 is as is from before, and option 2 would be inactive buddy teams, main buddy teams, and add in and approve main buddy team Maricel, Wahoo, and Farah. So let's go. So does everyone have any questions about the options between option 1 and option 2? Let's go ahead and vote. So who would like to vote? I'm going to vote for option 2. Albina, Wahoo, Rachel, Joseph, Zilu, you gonna vote?
Yeah, I did for option 2.
For what'd you vote? What's your number?
Books already 7.
Okay.
I'm also voting for number 2, 6.5.
Okay, and so just to see, we have a slight change here, so it would be 1790. 1790 plus 440 is 2230. So 2230 per month, which is 26,760 per year. Voting for option 2, so Rachel's option 2 as well. And then Wahoo, would you like to vote?
Jessica, are you voting?
Yes.
Jessica,
Are you voting for option 2? Jessica, are you voting for option 2, or what are you voting for?
Yeah, I'm voting for 6.5.
6.5 for option 2. Okay, so it looks like option 2 has the most votes, so we're gonna go ahead and do an average here and see if anyone has any objections to option 2. So anyone here who's helping can automatically do the, like, you don't need to wait for me to do the average. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, I'm also adding up.
I get 7.21. So that definitely passes. Passes, and we pretty much have consensus. So that is excellent. Are there any questions? So this also passes and approved by consensus to add the main buddy team, Marcel, Wahoo, and Farah. Are there any other questions, concerns before we finalize? So no questions, concerns. The only concern I'll note here is that Maricel is in Australia, and the minimum wage is $13 per hour, and so that's going to probably get cut. So he's planning on becoming volunteer though, so hopefully he'll get the volunteer status set up before we'd have to cut him from the budget. Are there any other?
The total amount for the month is not 2030, it is 2230.
Oh yeah. 2230. Cool. Thank you.
So that will be times 12, 26.7. Yeah.
Anything else on the budget? So the next steps here, our next steps are to focus on client work. Our biggest problem, and just to remind everybody, and then we have to do the invoice. So, and then invoice for 3 degree, like only client work. Does everyone understand that invoices are only client work?
Yes.
So just list all of the client work for the month, and then you're done. So it shouldn't be too complicated.
I think we are going over.
Who is our timekeeper?
Okay, let me help Wahoo on timekeeping. We are 20 minutes past. We're remaining with 10 minutes. I think we are going for 30.
Okay, cool. So we still have 10 minutes left on the budget if we need it. All right. So so just as far as the next steps on the budget, we need to focus on the client work. Our biggest problem right now is the client work and not the budget. So the budget crisis is over, which is great. And you see here, our actual income is only $800 because we're not doing the client work, right? Whereas our potential income currently is $4,000. So we have lots of potential client work. I also wrote up here, all the different client work and the different client budgets. And then we have, if we do the 4X that we have, at $3 an hour, $2, $3, $4 an hour, like this is the number of hours that we would need to do per week. And then this has the notes and roles and details of what needs to be done for the client work and whether someone needs to work with me or needs to, check in or what they can help with. So there's lots of ways to get involved with the client work. But again, it's only, if we do the 4X, it'll only be 25% of our time needs to be client work. So that's the other proposal we want to do, is change from 3X to 4X. Are there any other questions about the next steps for the budget or the invoice? No. Okay, so let's go ahead and just do this vote. Actually, maybe we should take a break first and then do our 4X vote.
Yeah. We take 3 minutes break.
Okay, so let's take a 3-4 minute break, and then we're gonna do our 4x vote. I'm okay with either 4x or 3.5x, so you can vote while we're on break. But we're gonna take a 3-minute break or so. Yeah, check.
Okay. All right.
I'm back.
Okay, I'm back.
Joseph, are you back?
I'm back.
Yes, I'm back.
So
You can put the number, or you can put your name on the proposals.
okay, but let's go over what it means really quick. So currently we're at 3x. 3x means that we have 33.33% client work. All right, so every time we do an hour of client work, we multiply that by 3, and then we charge the client 3 times the cost of the work that we're doing, so that it all adds up. The other 33% are the internal operations, and then the planning. Right now we're doing planning and training, right? So if we go up to 3.5x, it would be 28.7.57. And if we do 4x, it would be 25%. The budget I updated for potential income, I updated for 4x. So I'm leaning a little towards that, but I'm also willing to just go to 3.5. The biggest concern of going to 4x is that our clients might be too expensive for them. So does everyone understand what the percentage means? And this would directly affect the amount of work that we're doing for our client work, and also affect our weekly check-ins and our budget. So does anyone have any questions about the difference between 4x and 3.5x? Would you guys like to vote? Wahoo, Rachel, Zilu. Looks like we lost Zilu. Jessica? Can someone ask people on Skype? Hello, is anyone here? Hello? Shall we just go ahead and check out and end the meeting? Is anyone here? Hello?
Rachel, are you voting for 4x or 3.5 or 3? Okay.
All right, there we go. I was on mute. Can you guys hear me now? Can you guys hear me now?
Yeah, we
Yeah,
can.
you can hear you, don't.
Okay, great. So I was explaining the difference between 4x and 3x. So this says directly relates to the percentage of client work that we do. Currently, we're at 33% client work. If we go up to 3.5x, it would reduce the amount of client work that we need to do to 28.57. And if we go up to 4x, it would reduce it to 25%. The biggest concern about 4x is that it increases the cost to our clients. So that's the main thing that prevents us going to 5, 6, 7, 8x, is because it just gets exponentially more expensive to the clients, and they may not be willing to pay those kind of prices. So does anyone want to vote to keep our current 3x?
Yeah, I can still vote them also.
Albina, you want to do that?
Yeah.
Wahoo, did you want to vote, or are you going to abstain? Wahoo,
I want to vote.
You want to
Yeah.
vote? Which one?
33.33%.
All right. So Wahoo would say staying the same. Cool. So obviously the 3.5x has the most number of votes, so we would start with this one. Are there any questions about the proposal?
No, from my side.
Okay. Are there any concerns? The only concern I would put is that the 4x directly relates to our Plasmo Legion member relation support and multimedia support. So at 3x, these will be reduced for sure, but we still should be okay. At least trying it for this month, and then we can always increase to 4x in future. Any other objections? Any objections?
Can you explain how it will affect Plasma?
Okay.
The 3x.
So basically, for 3x, we basically do 33% client work, 33% internal ops, and 33% meetings and planning, right?
Training.
Yeah. Yes.
So this basically gives us an exact 100%. And it actually technically it's less than because we also have 5% admin fees, right? So it's really tight. So this is a very tight budget for Umbus. And so basically the main problem with 3x is it's simply just like it doesn't leave any wiggle room, right? So with 4x, you're able to do a couple really cool things, right? And of course, we started at 2x, right? Because we wanted it to be really low cost for our clients as best as possible. But just realistically, it's just we can't run a business, a sustainable business that actually can function on 2x. So now we're 3x. and it's just barely functional, right? So we have a fully functional bus, our budget, our client budgets, weekly check-ins, invoicing, everything works. For Forex, it would be 25% client work, 25% internal ops, 25% meetings and planning, and then the last 25% is going to be the admin fees, right? So we actually have space for the admin fees, and we have what we call Legion and member services support, right? Services. And this includes Plasmo and media, websites, communications, right? So basically, you know, one of the things that's missing in our organizational implementation is this whole Legion member services component. And I just had a realization of how unbelievable amount of work that is, and that it really does need to be made a whole section. And based on the new economic models that we're using, this includes all of our tokens, shares, equity, team equity. Like every time we talk about team equity, we never get to team equity. This would make team equity a client work, so it actually happens, right? So team equity would actually become client work, and all the token allocations and communications with, and this also relates not really to direct recruitment, but it would relate to our relationships of our recruiters, of the recruiters and the new people that are involved, so that they get the correct support, right, as a member. All right, so so the Forex really does broaden out and build our public interaction. So in overall, it builds our public and external interactions with members and people who are involved, which is going to be essential to being functional, right? And this also involves our client relations, etc. So hopefully that sort of makes sense. Does that sort of make sense to you guys, or?
Yes, it makes sense.
Yeah. So because without this 25%, we just barely get the work done at all. But with this extra added 25% for Forex, it allows us to actually start interacting with the public in a way that will increase our client work. It'll increase our notoriety and increase in ability to do our team equity and make sure that people are actually getting the value that we have stored. And then the Plasmo is just like our reporting, right? So the Plasmo is the reporting process and the accountability reporting, right? So we can just add that in here. Plasmo is accountability reporting to our members. Okay?
Yes.
Yeah. So that's the 4x. At 3.5x, it would be 28.57% client work, 28.57% internal ops, and 28.57% meetings and planning. And then I believe that leaves us at 100 minus 28.5 minus 28.5 minus 28.5 leaves us 14.5% for admin fees and Legion/member services. Okay, so basically it would cut the amount that we have for that in half. All right. Well, not quite half. Yeah, about half. It'll be about half. Mm-hmm. So probably instead of 348, we would basically just divide these in two. So 348 divided by 2 is 174. Right. So we just cut these budgets in half, but they would still exist. We would still have them. So 3x would allow us to have the budgets, for all of the Plasma number services as client work, it would just be a lot less. Okay, that makes sense?
Yeah, it does.
Cool. Are there any other questions? So does this change anyone's mind between the 3x and the 4x or the 3.5x? Or are we ready to finalize any other concerns? And we can always change it anytime. So if we do 3.5x for now, and we give this a try, we can, you know, increase it to 4x at any time we want to. But yeah. So are we sticking to the 3.5x? Does that sound good?
Yes.
Okay. So no objections, none. And so we have consensus on the 3.5x. Cool. And then this would be our new budget amounts. And this also would relate to our invoicing. So when we do the global invoice tabulation, we multiply by 3.5x. Okay?
Yeah.
And then also within our budget, the times will change a little here. Oh, no, everything stays the same. It's just this one that changes. So this is going to be 3.5. And then this is times 2. Cool. And according to here, we would need 17 people at part-time and 8 people at full-time to meet all of our client work that we currently have. So we have 11 people, I believe. So we should be able to get the majority of our client work completed. We just need to step up and make it happen as best as we can. Any other last questions on the budget? I think we're done with the budget. Did we ever get that proposals doc?
It is the, I think there is one Zilli created.
Okay, great. So let's make sure this is on our template. Oh, cool, it's on the template. Perfect. All right, so we got that completed. So as we do our decisions, the proposals go into the decisions, we make decisions. So we have a decision on our budget for the month, which is option number 2, but adding main buddy team, Marcel, Wahoo, and Farah. And then also we have the 3.5x.
So are we still making the voting form with the 2 proposals now? Or is just...
Oh, no, it's
the
already
second
passed.
one first.
It's already passed, and plus Marcel, Wahoo, and Farah is actually a recruitment budget, so it actually doesn't affect the budget directly, you know, for at least another month or 2. Okay.
Oh, okay, yeah, thank you.
And then the only other next step I can note here is that we need to talk with Abdul and Joyce about, you know, basically, you know, new main buddy team or budget proposals. And then Eileen and Shagimi, I mean, they're not really communicating, right? And Abdul is really not communicating either. Abdul's not communicating.
Abdul also, yeah.
And then we also have Joyce is busy, right? She's doing family stuff. So the only other things I can think of in relationship to budget would be tier 4 budgeting. Tier 4 budgeting. So tier 4 means it comes out of next month's budget, right?
Yeah.
And the tier 4 budgeting that we might want to consider is $300 for Steve again. you know, if we want to try to help him out, I mean, he's definitely not in a good position, but he's also he still doesn't even have a main buddy team proposal. And we passed him in the budget last month, and he didn't do anything, right? So I don't know what to do about that. And he's not really communicating very well. And then also we could consider consider funds for Mahidi. I don't know what it would be, but I think it would either be a gift or an advance. You know, basically be the same thing as an advance, kind of, except I don't know if we would expect it back if he is, you know, undergoing surgery and doing this whole, like, could be a while. So, you know, if they're raising money, if we wanted to try to put some money, we paid
Maybe
him,
a gift.
yeah, we paid him everything.
Advance.
We paid him everything that he yeah, I mean, we would technically be in advance, but we wouldn't be expecting to get it back, you know?
Yeah.
Or at least not getting it back for a while. If he's doing all this, like, kidney surgery and everything. But anyways, if we wanted to, that would be another thing we could consider, you know, sending him some funds, additional funds. But we paid him all of his, you know, the money that he did the work for. So hopefully that helped. So does anyone want to consider tier 4 budget? So should we wait for them to do it or wait for the full moon? Or I don't know, what do you guys want? And then we're ready to move on to the next topic.
For me, I think we just give them up to full moon.
Okay.
Then we finalize.
Sounds good. Okay.
We do the final communication. If they don't respond to our communication, then we cut them off.
Okay, but we're not going to hear from we're not going to hear from Mahidi, but we should be hearing from Steve. We should be hearing from Joyce and Abdul. Yes, and then I don't know about Aline and Shagimi. I don't hear from them, but you know, they need to step up if they want to get paid. Okay, so let's move on. I think the next topic is mandatory priorities. And for this one, we have 10 minutes. And we only have 20 minutes left of our meeting, so we'd have to extend if you want to do more.
Lost of electricity there.
Huh? I didn't quite understand that, Zila. Do you want to say again?
Oh, I was lost electricity here. Back.
I can't understand it. I don't know.
He says he lost electricity, but he's back now.
Oh yeah, of course. Great. Awesome. Okay, so is methods next? When does methods come? Okay, methods is going to be our next topic. Because I do want to go over methods. Why do we have this cross out? I just don't get it. Everything's always crossed out. Right. So for the methods, I want to go over client work and organizing method. But we do want to note here that someone needs to make main docs for Wahoo, Farah, and Marcel. Okay, can someone do that?
Okay, I will.
And that, you know, we already have personnel profiles. And the personnel profiles
and the MBT
are linked in their MBT. Okay.
Yeah.
And then Wahoo, your primary you know, focus is on main buddy team criteria, and then Albina, you need to sign off on their main buddy team when it is complete. Okay.
Yeah.
Does that make sense, Wahoo? Do you have any questions about that?
No.
Okay, good, cool. So,
Okay.
I think we have a plan with all of that. So mandatory priorities. So let's go over the mandatory priorities pretty quickly here. Also that you'll notice in our budget, everything is broken down in column I relating to the client work and where it exists in the mandatory priorities. So Plasma, Legion, member relations, and multimedia support, these are all like the new ones. Except for Plasma exists, but Plasma, multimedia support, and websites. Website, server, email, it's all there. Multimedia support. So let's see, Plasma, paid client. Really, this is accountability reporting is what Plasma is. So the policy keeping and organizing overall was one of the goals, which didn't really happen. And then we need to, create and list responsibilities and responsibility organizing for accountability reporting and Plasma. So, I would just say like, I've gone over this some with Albina and Lucy, primarily Lucy. But ideally, we would also add that up here. Let's leave out both. So Plasma, to check in with me on it on the assistant work so that we can get it updated. If you guys want to link the Plasma doc, we can go over some of the responsibilities briefly.
Yeah.
So then the other one was the Legion member relations. So, and then multimedia support. So media member relations should be pretty reasonable, and I would make it its own section here. So let's go ahead and pop this right under personnel support. This would be Legion/member services. This is basically, you're going to want to check in with me some on this so we can certainly add it here. But let's just say for now that it relates to recruitment. Relates to recruitment and communications and tokens, value, tracking, and team equity. All right. So this should be pretty easy for people to understand and get involved in with a little bit of training. And the multimedia support, you really need to work with me because it's just complicated right now. And so as long as you're working on a responsibility for Plasma, we should be okay. So go ahead and link that to the doc. Mode taxes are pretty good. We have mainly Zilu working on this, but Zilu can get help, especially on all the verification that needs to happen. Also, if anyone wants to step up and work on the 2016 taxes, this is mainly with me and the 1099s. We haven't done verification, so it shouldn't be too hard. But this is pretty close to getting done with verifying all the CSVs and all the accounts, and so we're focusing on categorization now. Next would be the sponsorship program. The sponsorship program is super mellow. The bank relations, the percentage admin fees, the accounting, proposals. I mean, this is definitely doable. I'm not sure why people aren't stepping up to help with the sponsorship program. We've been asking people to step up for it for 6 months or 8 months or whatever. So that should be doable.
Do we have
program don't
videos on that?
Okay, one person at a time. Let's do Albina first and then Zilu. Albina?
I was asking if we have like a video training on that, because I requested you. I think was it
I
last
don't
week
think we have video
on
training.
sponsorship.
I don't think we
Do you have
video.
information on that?
I mean, there's lots of information on it, and the answer's pretty simple. I mean, like the most important thing is that you it's accounting, right? So you have accounting, and you take the program. So for example, Spark Poetry, right? Spark Poetry, right? And they have 5% admin fee, and then you just like add up all the income, just income, and multiply by 5% and make sure the funds get transferred, right? So this is income. This is bringing in funds into so that we can pay people. If we don't do this, we don't get paid, right? So basically, this is the output right here. And make sure the funds get transferred. That's the output. That make sense? Do you guys understand? Hello?
Hello.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, we can hear you.
Okay, so basically what I'm saying here is that the output and the goal of sponsorship and the client work that needs to get done is to make sure the funds get transferred and we actually get the admin fees, right? So for example, Spark Poetry is one of like a dozen, accounts that we oversee. And so we'd want to do a 5% admin fee, and that the Spark Poetry is, actually transferring the funds and getting the funds organized. Okay, does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's just one program and one example, but it's just like, it's basically accounting, and you go through the spreadsheets, and also there's some communications involved with sponsorship and bank relations and getting all of the accounts organized. So you certainly want to work some with me and the people in the programs, but overall, a lot of the work can just be done on a spreadsheet with basic accounting and basic, math. All right. Let's go ahead and move on to, if anyone wants to step up on the responsibility organizing, everything needs responsibility organizing. Wahoo, when you do your training, you get your main doc, your training's one of your top 5 trainings is gonna be the responsibility organizing, so that when you get a responsibility, you know how to organize it and how to understand the existing organized responsibilities. From there,
Okay.
in terms of work, there's a lot of things that I need to work with people on to hand off. Like once you work with me on it, we can hand off the work. We're also adding the court case to this so that we can get that out of the way. Was there anything else we were adding? We're also adding the executive support as client work. J support, local government compliance. Yeah, that's local. Okay, cool. So I think that covers everything there. Executive assistant. So this is going to be client work. This is going to be client work. These are all client work. This is all going to be client work. Client relations and client agreement write-ups. This can go under Legion and member services for now.
Okay.
2 minutes remaining for the topic.
Great. So we covered Mo taxes, essential budget work. Again, we're focusing on invoices for now. So these can, and we're off and on this. And then as soon as we get our invoices done, we'll be back to the budgets. Global invoice tabulation happens after the invoicing. And then Albina, you've been working on the direct hour rankings, so that's good. But really, Albina, your focus should be on client work and then passing off, the direct hour rankings and train someone to do that who doesn't know how to do client work. Essential personal support. Okay, so with the global weekly check-in, we're doing really good on that. But again, we need to get up, and now we all need to get to this new level of, it's going to be a lower level. So instead of 33%, we need to do 28.57% client work. And we're all on, major soft stops, like 50% soft stops, going on hard stops with all of our client work and everything. So just make sure that whenever you're not working on client work in a week, like you need to be talking to somebody who is doing client work and having like a buddy to balance with. So overall, I think we're getting pretty good on our work coordination, but we'll keep doing that. And then there's also somewhere here, there's priorities that have soft stop and hard stop. Do we have that link? Like we need a doc. So if we can make a doc for this, create a doc that lists all of the responsibilities and then link the spreadsheet to that. So if we can create a doc.
I think we had one.
Oh, I know we had a spreadsheet. But I also want a doc so that we can, be brainstorming and organize it. Okay. And plus there needs to be like, you guys are still not doing responsibility organizing. Every single time there's a new responsibility, the first thing you do is organize it and you have a doc with a link. And for some reason that's still not happening. It should be immediate in the first 5 minutes of getting a responsibility. You create a doc with the link, or you create a link under an existing doc. And I'm not sure why we're not getting that done yet. Does everyone understand the responsibility organizing?
Yes.
Is there a reason why people don't do it and don't, like for new responsibilities, we don't have the docs and the linked information? Hello?
Hello.
So I'm asking a question. Everyone says they understand the responsibility organizing, but then when we give out responsibilities, they're not getting organized. We don't have links to docs. Is there a reason why we're skipping the responsibility organizing and creating the docs and the links to the organizing of each responsibility?
Because people are just focusing to do the work only, not to go in details and organize well. This is the main problem with the.
Yeah. So when you try to do the work, without being organized and knowing what your responsibility or your goals are, you're not doing work. Right? The work doesn't get done properly and correctly, and then it gets messy, and then you have problems. So just be sure to do the responsibility organizing. Make sure you know the work that you're doing, and then you're organized not just for yourself, but always think about training the next new recruit like Wahoo. Right? So without being organized and having your link to your organized responsibilities, it makes it, 10 times harder to train somebody and pass off the responsibility. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. So main session support, we're doing pretty good on. And obviously we're focusing on the Earth session. I don't know if we're going to get that to today. Accountability reporting, we're going to cover it right now. So let's take a look at the Plasmo doc. So again, this is a perfect example for Plasmo where people just start doing work on Plasmo without having any idea what they're doing. And so we have all these independent information support reports and presentations, and it's like none of this stuff is really helpful and we're not doing anything with it. Like we need to be reporting information to the people that we're doing the work for, right? So I've done many lists and talked about Plasmo many times, and there's nothing here, right? So maybe your priority tasks and priorities, let's just say priorities, is to go through all of the past notes and get the indexing done. Right, so every time we talk about Plasmo and we have all the notes should be linked here. And all the information should be linked here. And every time I'm like, index the notes, we just went over all the information on Plasmo and how to do it. This is where it should be, and it's not here. Do you guys see how that's a problem?
Organizing the information. This is the problem with the responsibility organizing. Just doing the work, not organizing work.
I know, but you can't do the work if you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah.
So you have to do the responsibility organizing, otherwise you shouldn't be doing the work, right? And that would also be related to our methods. It's like, you know, if you are not organized, then simply just don't work, right? It's like it's a waste of time, and you're not going to actually be helping because you don't know what you're doing. You're not organized. You don't have your goals set up. You know, it's not going to be helpful. Okay.
Yeah.
So, so this would be one thing, is to go through all of our past notes and index all of the Plasma information so that we have it here, because otherwise it doesn't exist. All right. Think there was a session with Lucy. Let's see if I can find anything here. Steve and Lucy, October 1st. It's ridiculous. Sonic Buddy Team Lucy on June 11th. Let's take a look here. Nothing. But no, there's some stuff. Looks like we did some payroll. I don't see anything on Plasma. So I'm just checking real quick to see if there's anything on one of these sessions I had with Lucy, because it might be harder for you guys to find it. I don't see anything there either. Let's try like one or two more here. Mandatory priorities. Nothing. Anyways, this is exactly why it's so important to be doing indexing during the sessions. Otherwise, you just don't have the information available when you need it. And the fact that Plasma has nothing here, it's like there's nothing on the Plasma doc, you know, for actual responsibilities. Then no, there shouldn't be any work that's going on, you know. So I guess it was during a main session that we went over Plasma, and I wrote down all the responsibilities. So, you know,
can you open that doc? I think it is there. I'm sharing it on the main Hangout.
What doc?
The Hangout. I think it was based on the last session you had with Lucy.
Okay, let's see. You put it on the Hangout?
Yeah, accurate session.
Yes.
Okay, but can we just copy and paste the information instead of having to look through 20 pages of notes?
No, let me copy. I'll copy it.
Yeah, just put it in here.
I put on the doc.
Which doc?
The one for the bottom.
Yeah, this is it right here. The types of reports that we have and all the different responsibilities. So according to here, Plasma could have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 responsibilities at least. All right, like this, if not more, 6, 7, 8, 9 responsibilities, right? So this is exactly what I was talking about here. So right now there's only one responsibility, which is the finance report, but it's like you can't just redo the same report over and over and over again Like, it's like, why do we have links to, 7 links to the same report? You know what I mean? It doesn't make sense. It's like every week people come and then they just write a new report of the same exact information and then charge hours of work for it. Like 3-4 hours of work to do literally something that was already done the week before. Right? Like it doesn't make any sense. Right? So another component of Plasmo is going to be communication with members. What do they want to know about? You could also research, typical, organizational reporting. Right? So like, we have this yearly budget report, but there's a lot of other financial reporting that needs to get done. For example, how much money, right, is in our overall financial reporting. So one example could be accounting, right? Accounting report. How much money do we have? Okay. So that might be another thing that, people might want to know. Right? So just think about it like this. Think about it in terms of like, what would people want to know? What would be the questions that would be asked? And then we would want to answer those questions for the members. Right? Anything less than that is just nonsense. Right? So let's go ahead and take all of this stuff and put it into, instead of putting it in our notes, where it needs to go is the Plasmo doc. I'm not sure why you guys don't understand this. Index this information, please, so that we can find it. Okay?
Okay. Yeah.
Otherwise, it's useless. So, does anyone want to choose a single responsibility that they would want to work on?
Yeah, that will be even good.
But I didn't hear you choose one. So the answer is no. No one wants to choose a responsibility. So again, so your focus should be on choosing a responsibility and then getting focused on it and doing responsibility organizing. Does everyone understand that?
Yeah.
So in other words, there's nothing to be done, because if you don't have a responsibility, then you're not working. Okay?
Yeah.
So if you don't choose a responsibility, you have no work to do. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
What is Plasmo? Is Plasmo a responsibility? And if not, what is it?
I will report.
Pardon,
I will assign for finance reporting and with the policy verification.
Okay, thank you, Zilu. So Zilu is interested in working on policy verification, and then Zilu's also said he's interested in helping with the finance reporting. Although there's a lot of different types of finance reporting, you're going to need to like the budget report is done. We have the budget report, so let's do a different financial report, like accounting or some other sort of financial reports, or make the list of all the financial reporting that needs to be done. But don't just keep doing the same report over and over again. Just don't do it. Right? Okay? So we're done with the budget report. The budget report is done. So if you want to work on a finance report, you need to work on a new report, like accounting report, et cetera, or a taxes report or something else. So, but either way, my expectation is that nobody's going to work on Plasmo except for potentially Zilu. You guys understand?
Yeah.
And why? Why is that?
because he chose the responsibility under Plasmo.
Yeah, and no one else has any responsibilities. So unless you choose a
What about
responsibility, you're not working.
can I choose like invitation and session support?
Currently, Albino is helping with the attendances.
What do you want to choose?
Attendance and invitation to sessions under Plasma.
Okay, well, what would be your current reporting on that? What would be your current reporting on that? What would be your current reporting on attendance and invitations to sessions?
Reports on the sessions, like on our previous session and the upcoming,
and what would the report
give information.
look like?
Pardon?
What would the report look like?
I don't understand.
What would you write in your report? If the question is, were sessions planned correctly and was attendance and invitations sent for the sessions, what's the answer?
Mm-hmm.
What would be the answer that you would write in the report?
The people who turned up for the session?
No, that's not the question. I didn't ask,
Mm-hmm.
you know, who showed up for the session. That's not what the question is.
Mm-hmm.
Like the question and the goal is extremely important for Plasma. That's what you guys are missing, right? It's not just saying who showed up. That's not what we're asking. We're asking, were the sessions planned and run correctly? Did we send out the invitations to get the attendance? What's the answer to that question? Like for the Earth session, right? Or, you know, for the series session or whatever, did we do the work? Did we do and run the sessions and do the invitations and have attendance as planned?
Yeah, we did for the series, but
who did we invite to series?
We did not invite for the externals.
Okay, so let's think about that again then. Who's the report going to? Where is the Plasma? Where's the accountability report going to?
Externals.
Yes. Who are we holding accountable? Who is accountable?
Investors.
No, who is accountable? Why are we doing the reporting? Who is accountable? It's us. We're the ones who are accountable. We're the workers. We're publicly accountable. Right?
I think the shareholders.
No, we are the ones accountable to the shareholders, to the public, to the members. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah.
So unless you guys understand these things, it's not possible to do Plasma. You need to understand who you're writing the information to, because you're not writing it for yourself, right? And you're not doing it in the context like, oh, I attended the session, so therefore we had a great session. That's not what the report is about. That's not accountability. Do you understand?
Yes.
Yeah.
So what is the answer? Were the sessions planned and run correctly? Did we send out the invitations and did we get attendance from the membership? What's the answer?
No.
No. And we didn't do anything. We didn't invite a single person. We didn't go public. We didn't actually let anyone know. We didn't send any out invitations. Nobody showed up. It was just ourselves. That's not our goal. Right? We're not meeting our goals. We're not doing the work. We're not following through. Our report should be very bad report Fs across the board. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what do you think the priority might be? Do you think the priority is between now and the Earth session? Do you think the priority is to write a report that says we have doing no invitations to our Earth session? Or do you think maybe you should work on a different responsibility? And what responsibility would that be?
The responsibility will be inviting the right people.
Yeah, and where would that?
To remind us.
And what would that go under? That would be part of the planetary Earth session support, right? So what I'm saying is that you could spend 5 hours doing a report on all of our sessions and how terribly they were run and how we didn't do any invitations, or you could spend 5 hours actually organizing the Earth session, right?
Yeah.
It's like, what's the priority? Do you guys understand what I'm trying to say here?
Yeah.
Yeah. Does that make sense, Albina? Albina? Hello? Anyways,
I think
the point that I'm trying to make is that maybe you spend 2 minutes writing a report to Plasmo saying that we're doing really bad on our sessions, and then instead of focusing on Plasmo, you focus on the actual Earth session. Okay?
Yeah.
Anyways, any other questions on the Plasmo or the mandatory priorities?
Excuse me?
Any other questions on Plasma or the mandatory priorities?
Okay.
Are there any other questions on Plasma or the mandatory priorities?
No question.
Okay.
I think I'm good.
Okay, so let's just do the methods really quick because I think this is extremely important, and then we're going to go ahead and check out. Okay. So on the methods, the client work is extremely important. Everyone, even new recruits, should be focused on 28.5% client work. So if you're not doing a 28% client work, like let's say you work 10 hours in a week, so you do 10 hours in a week times, 28.5, you get about 3 hours. You should be doing 2 to 3 hours on client work in a week of a 10-hour week, 2 to 3 hours during a 10-hour week. I mean, really, you should still be going for 33%, but at least getting the 2 to 3 hours is good. If you're not doing client work, and why, can someone answer why you would do client work first?
Because they are the ones who are paying us.
Yeah. So if you want to get paid, if you want to volunteer, you don't have to do client work. It's perfectly fine. But if you want to get paid, right, then you do your paid work first, and then internal ops. Right? So just do 2 to 3 hours on your client work, and then spend the whole rest of your week, your 7 hours, on everything else. Perfectly fine. Okay? But to not do any client work at all means you don't want to get paid. And that's exactly what's going to happen, is that we're going to be cutting the pay and firing people, and that's what we had to do because the work's not getting done. Okay? So if you're not doing client work, then link with a buddy who is. So anyone who's not doing client work, right? You can have, you can do 66% internal ops for worker A. So worker A does 66% internal ops, and worker B, we can use our new percentages just for fun. So if we have the 28.5%, it would be 57% instead of 66, right? So if you have 57% internal ops and you have 57% client work, this as a team averages out to 28.5% internal and internal ops and client work. You guys understand?
Yes.
So if you're not doing client work, then you need to talk to somebody who is doing client work and take on their internal ops work so that they can focus more on client work. It's really that simple. So basically, if you're not doing client work, you need to be connected and linked with somebody who is doing client work so that it averages out correctly. Otherwise, the team will get docked. And it'll be a problem because then we won't have enough client work to pay people. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Cool. All right, so if we can add this to worker coordination and also index to methods. All right.
Okay.
All right, so then the next one is our primary organizing method. Let's cover this. Does anyone remember it, or should I just do it on my own? Does anyone remember our organizing method? Does anyone know what a method is? Does anyone want to explain a method for Wahoo?
Yes. Yeah.
So if you look under methods, this is our methodology. Like there's no indexing at all. Like how many times we've talked about methods many times. So go through our past notes and index our method discussions. Right? I mean, remember during all of the, like 2 months ago during series and Saturn session, everything, the top priority that everyone talked about was getting our methods organized so that we actually had a functional organization and, we're bringing in money and had clients and everything. Do you guys remember that?
I will figure it out and put some information linked with the doc.
Sure, but my question was whether you guys remembered how we talked about prioritizing the methods and how important that was. Do you guys remember that?
Yeah, yes, I remember.
Okay, and so the most important thing for doing that would be indexing all of the information for our methodology so that the methods are all here and yet it's blank, right? There's like nothing here. So every time I talk
the information, I think I linked the information on the method doc.
I know, but I'm looking at the method doc right here and there's nothing there.
Let me look for the doc.
So maybe
maybe
there's a separate doc. So it's number 20.
This is a doc.
It's number 27 on our projects virtual drawer, and it's a methodology.
Maybe I did for the wrong doc. Let me just confirm, then I link there.
Okay, cool.
Because I remember indexing it.
Yeah, because that'd be very concerning if we had no methods information indexed, especially if it's one of our top priorities. Zilu?
Probably it was indexed on the policies doc. I saw there maybe.
The policies doc? Okay, let's take a look at policies. So systems and process, there is no policies doc. Is it systems and process?
Hopefully.
Zilu, did you say systems and process or what?
No, there was a...
I'm just looking for the information.
What I was checking.
Cool. So anyways, let's get organized. This is what it's going to take to get us to a point where we're a functional organization. Is we need to be organized and make sure we're all using the same documents and links for the information that we are working with. Okay.
Yeah.
And if you have a question about something, this would be really important for Wahoo. Just ask. Just ask. Be like, yes, of course we all want to be using the same doc and make sure that it's like we're linking and indexing information in the correct location. If you're not 100% sure, just like write a Skype message like, hey, is this the correct place to put methodology indexing, right, for methods? So that we are doing it in a way that makes sense and that we can all work together on it. All right, anyways, I'll just do it from memory. organizing method. Step at the beginning would be, basically brainstorming, and discussion, and then you'd want to, prioritize and narrow, decision and goals, and then, or goals and decisions on focus. And you'd want to plan, implement, and evaluate and repeat. So does this make sense as far as our organizing method?
Yeah.
So everything that we do, right? Plan and organize, right? So this would be like responsibility organizing. And so we prioritize, we narrow down what we want to focus on for priorities. Then we get our goals, we make a decision on the focus that we want to do. Then we plan and organize it, including our responsibility organizing, right? This happens before we do the work. So we implement and do the work. Happens after we organize and plan. Right? But we can't organize and plan until we know what we're going to do. We can't know what we're doing until we brainstorm and prioritize. Then after we implement, do the work, we evaluate the work, and then we repeat the whole cycle and we brainstorm again to improve. Right? Yes, do you guys understand? And you can apply that to everything. Like there's nothing that we do that doesn't basically follow this organizing methodology. So does anyone have any question about any part of the organizing method?
No.
Is someone going to index this into the methodology doc?
Yes, I will. That's why I'm just looking for the information also. We'll link at the right doc.
Okay, yeah, and go through all the past notes. I mean, we've talked about methods for like hours and hours and hours over the last couple months. It's been one of our top priorities. And it's like there's nothing there. It's like who even knows like where any of that is, or if it was even, helpful to even talk about it. Okay? So that basically it concerns me greatly, and it doesn't surprise me why we have to fire everybody, and because the work's not getting done if we're not just doing the basic things that we already said that we were going to do. Right? It's just very concerning. Like we all agreed we were going to focus on the methodology and get it all organized, and everyone said they were going to index it and organize it, and now it's like nowhere to be seen. So that is unfortunate. So let's go ahead and like we basically went through our goals with the methodologies. I mean, with the basically we went over the goals with the mandatory priorities.
Where is the doc index the previous information on methodology?
All right.
I'll just link there.
This is the Unity methodology proposal. This is absolutely has nothing to do with what you did, right? To say that you did this is outrageous. You didn't do any of this. I don't know why you're saying you did this.
I just linked there the information. I'll just cut and paste on the methods doc.
What do you mean you linked the information? At the bottom?
The information on methods at the bottom.
Oh yeah, this is definitely not where it goes. They're not proposals. So yeah, just cut and delete all of that stuff. This is not where it goes at all. This is not a doc. This is a proposal. Okay.
Okay.
So that's why it was lost and missing, because you were linking it in a very random place. So everything under this line right here, this needs to all be cut and removed and put into the methodology doc. So do you understand what the methodology doc is?
Yes.
All right. Cool. And let's definitely continue to organize it. So I'm going to link the methodology doc here too. Methodology doc. And I'm also going to link it at the top. Well, but this is good. This is why we do our meetings and we go over this, because otherwise we aren't organized, right?
Yeah.
And then we improve upon it. So that is good. I'm very excited that the information is somewhere, and now we know where it is, and it just wasn't in the right place. So no one else had any access to it, because no one would ever think to look at the Unity methodology proposal to find the methodology information that we've been indexing for the last, X number of weeks and months. Any last questions on our methods? So there's a lot more to go through here, but we can go ahead and just move on. The last thing I'll note really quick is that for communications, the primary method of communications is rapid, constant communications. Daily communications. Wahoo, you've been doing really good. We've been talking every day. So just keep up the communications, ask lots and lots of questions. The more communications, the more Skype messages, the more emails, the better. Don't wait. You have a question, you're not sure about something, don't wait, just ask it, right? We're all here to work as a team. If we don't communicate, it's the opposite of working as a team, okay?
Yeah.
Okay? There's no teamwork in silence and, not talking to anyone. That is not teamwork. Cool. So I think that is good. So we'll keep improving and get better at it. And I think we are ready to wrap, to check out. So
30 minutes over for the session.
Well, we're just going to go ahead and check out. We don't really have time for the wrap up unless there was any specific things, but I think we went over most things at the beginning. The main things we need to be doing wrap up is next steps and responsibilities. So let's just go through that in our checkouts. Let us talk about what you're going to do next, and how the session went. So,
Jerry, before we wrap up, before we check out, what about
I couldn't hear you. Hello, can you guys hear me now?
communicating?
Can you say that again, Albina? I missed you.
I'm talking about the co-chair.
Oh, the co-chair. Who's the next person on the list?
Lucy.
Ask Lucy if she wants to be co-chair again. I think Lucy would be perfect.
Yeah, we just go with Lucy then.
Well, no, we need to ask her and make sure she is willing to do it, okay?
Yeah, we will. I will.
Cool. Great. All right, any other questions before we go to checkouts on anything? So your checkouts, we have the question of how the session went from 0 to 9, what your priorities are for the next session, and any other next steps for our group, okay? So I'm going to start, I would say that some of our next steps for our group is really grounding down on our methods, getting people focused on responsibility organizing, more questions, communication, prioritizing on our client work, and just keep pushing it till it works out. I mean, basically, we just need to focus on recruiting more people who want to step up and do the work. Because if this group of people aren't going to do the work, we just need to recruit and find other people who can do the work and do want to focus on prioritizing the work. Everything is here. Like we've been talking about, over the last 3 months about all the problems that we've been having and needing new policies. We set up all the new policies. Like we have our budget. We're out of the budget crisis. Like we're ready to go, right? We're bringing in new clients already. So we have new work for the new clients that must get done. And we're going to be bringing in even more clients if we do step up, right? So the time is now to step it up and move it forward. Otherwise, it's just let's hire people who do want to step up and do the work. Okay. From there, the session, I would give it like a 5.5. Wait, is anyone taking notes? No one's taking notes? Yeah, I mean, I would say 4.5. I mean, we need better note taking. We need better engagement. We need better indexing from previous sessions. I mean, we did pretty good overall. Maybe I'll give it like a 5. But I feel like I got a little frustrated because, that we were just there were certain things that just kind of fell apart and took too long and got dragged down because we weren't organized. But that can just change. Just if people just step up and do the organizing and ask questions and, don't put information, on the 20th page of some other random document. It's let's get our, it's you should just know that if you're randomly putting information at the bottom of some other document, that it's just, no one's going to be able to find that, it's let's just use common sense and, keep challenging ourselves to improve, right? And I'm confident about our ability as a group to be really successful. And I'm really excited about our new members with Wahoo, as well as Farah and Marcel, plus some of the other people we're working on recruiting. So, we should be good, and we'll keep building, and we can start doing our tokens now. So I want to prioritize that. So if anyone wants to do the session value tracking, we can issue the token session credits. And then we can start doing our team equity with that as well. And that will all be client work when we actually start issuing the tokens and the value tracking. My priority for next session is going to be client work. I have lots of client work that I'm doing. I'm working with EXA. We're doing the token allocation. I'm going to be continuing to do payroll. I'm going to be continuing to work on the client relations and the the FQN tokens and the bills. Oh my goodness, the bills and the websites. Hopefully we can get the websites going as well. So anyways, it's the endless list of work. And I think that's it. Check. Zilu, do you want to take us through the rest of the checkouts?
Yes. Thank you. The session was good, and I will give this session 6. I'm going to work on taxes until the next session, and also the weekly check-in, and also we'll verify the roadworks invoice, and also we are on subscription for the invoice, so going to complete that. That's all for now. Thank you.
Cool. Also, could we add, create a doc or a spreadsheet to track soft stops and hard stops? So mainly, really, it's just soft stops, But basically, if we have 3 soft stops, they add on top of each other, right? We need to be tracking when we have multiple soft stops going at the same time. Thank you all. Thanks, Zilu. Great work.
A question on weekly check-in. This is the last day on week 1. Are we still on soft stop, or we just finish a week, then we fill out the form? Week 1 is not yet.
Yeah, week one was over today. Today is already week 2 because it's the quarter moon. The quarter moon's on the 8th day, right? So on the Selene calendar, today is the 8th day. It's not the 7th, it's 8th.
But on the Selene date says it is still 7.
No, today is the 8th.
That's the confusion now. Okay.
Well, if the Selene calendar says that it was 7, then it's done wrong. Because the quarter moon, by definition,
it says that
is on
you
the
start
8th day.
at 9 p.m. UTC. Date 8.
Yeah, well,
which we still have like 5 hours.
Well, I mean, it can't be right because the quarter moon is the beginning of the. Or no, the quarter moon always happens on the 8th day. So the Selene calendar is just it's just off. It's wrong. You know, we need to do better on it.
Yeah, we need to check on that. Okay, thank you.
But yeah, the quarter moon always is on the 8th day of the month. The first quarter, 8th day, always. The third quarter is always on the 22nd day, right? So the new moon's always on the first day. The first quarter is always on the 8th day. The full moon is always on the 15th day of the month. And the third quarter is always the 22nd day of the month. And the 29th day is the day off.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Next, Rachel.
Wait, Albina, did you check out or were you just asking a question?
I checked on the Selene day. That's why I was asking, why are we on soft stop when we're still in week 1?
Well, we're still on soft stop until we're not on soft stop anymore, but just remember to check out. We don't want to forget you. Zilu, do you want to go through the rest of the checkouts, or Albina, do you want to do it?
Zilu is quiet, is on mute. That's why I said next person to check out, or I do it.
Cool.
Okay, Joseph, can you check out? Joseph, you're on mute.
Okay, let me check out.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, can give the session 7. It's a great session. I'll focus on responsibility organizing. Because I'll like to learn more on client work. And I will also be working on invoice.
So first of all, responsibility organizing is not a responsibility and is not like, you know, that doesn't make sense, right? So you need a responsibility. So Jessica, your number 1 priority is to get responsibilities, you know, get your schedule organized and just do the basics. It's the same with Wahoo as well. And other new recruits, like it's just, if you don't have responsibilities, you don't have your schedule, then you shouldn't be working. Okay? Does that make sense, Jessica?
Yeah.
So just to make sure you understand, you have no responsibilities, correct?
We have responsibilities. I was working on.
Okay. Can you list them?
Tracking.
What is it?
Invoicing.
What is it? Say again.
Personnel hours tracking.
Personnel hours tracking. Great. Yeah.
Invoicing.
Invoicing. Great. Invoicing is super important. It's due today. So you need to get that in the next week or it's hard stop. Right?
Yeah.
Good. So that's what we want to hear.
Payroll verification.
Payroll verification. Great. See how much different that is when you say that. I'm working on personnel hours tracking. I'm working on invoicing. I'm working on payroll verification. That's actual information. When you say, "Oh, I'm working on responsibility organizing, and maybe I'll work on Plasma," that's meaningless. You're doing nothing. Do you see the difference?
Yeah.
Yeah, so when you talk about what you're doing, you tell us the responsibilities that you're working on so we know what you're doing, not just say, oh, I'm working on responsibly organizing, but we have no idea what the responsibilities are. Cool. Thanks, Jessica.
Yeah, thank you.
Joseph? Joseph is not there. Let me check out.
Joseph is gone.
Wow. Wow.
I would like to work with Zulu. Zulu.
Mm-hmm.
Finance.
Mm-hmm. How was the session?
So far, I'm catching up.
And also make sure you work on your MBT. Make sure that everything is there.
MBT, what do you mean by everything?
Main body team updates. Your main body team updates. I just have a verification on it.
So creating your main doc and others related docs, I will inform you, Wahu.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for accepting to work with me.
Yeah, and you need to make sure that you have main docs for Farah and Marcel as well. And so Wahoo,
Okay.
your primary focus is on your main buddy team criteria. Like you got to meet all the criteria. So use the criteria doc, ask us questions, and until you are signed off on your main buddy team doc, you can't work on anything else, right? So you need to get your main buddy team all finalized and approved. It's more than halfway done, so it shouldn't be too hard. And then there's also you might want to use the detailed intake form for that. And then the other aspect is that, all of the hours that you worked before, you should, if you're tracking your hours, just try to go back and estimate, and you get paid for all the hours that you were doing work before as well. So you want to track all your hours, and then you want to start tracking your hours now and schedule with, Zilu, Albina, Joseph, anyone who's available, and they can do onboarding with you and train you on your work reporting and the videos you need to watch for your own training to learn about responsibly organizing and everything. Okay. Yeah, but first you have to do your main buddy team doc and update to criteria. Update to meet minimum criteria. Then you do your onboarding and start training. Okay.
Okay.
Cool. And did you have any other next steps or want to rate the session?
Pardon?
You can give the session a number, like an evaluation, from 0 to 9.
6.
6. Cool. Anything else, Wahoo?
No, for now, no. No, thank you.
Cool. Yeah, thank you so much for getting involved. It's really exciting to have your energy and your help.
I'll send you the policy for MPT, policy doc, so that you go through.
Yeah, and for criteria situation. Thank you guys for having me.
We will see you soon. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Okay.
Albina, did you check out?
I just wrote, let me, I give the session 6.5. Was good, but we need to put more efforts on responsibility organizing.
And
I'll focus on more taxes, 1099 taxes verification, sponsorship as client work, and also invoice tabulation and budgets for the internal operations. Thank you.
Great. And then Rachel said that she'll be working on responsibly organizing, invoicing, personnel, work hours, and tracking. So she'll be working with Jessica.
Okay, Jessica and Rachel, I also want to teach them on value tracking. Jessica. I think she's not there. We'll do value tracking later.
Cool. Awesome. All right. Good work. I think
Thank you.
I think we're all done. This is good. Oh, wait.
Yeah, Jay, I did the oversight payroll verification for full moon.
Say again. What was the question?
I did the oversight for payroll, full moon.
Oh yeah. So today we should be able to do the payroll. That's great. Thank you.
Yeah, for full moon.
Cool. And check in with Rachel and Jessica, and just do our best to they want to step up and do some more intro ops so that maybe others of us can focus more on the client work.
Yeah.
But they should still be helping with client work. Everyone should have a client responsibility, and learning it. Cool. All right. I'll talk to you guys all soon, and really great session and good work, and we'll just keep improving. We're so close.
Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye.